All right, let's talk about multiplying decimals and how we do this. Now, 6.72 times 1.3, yeah, you could, I guess one option would be use your calculator, okay? You could do that, but we don't need a calculator. We can do that without a calculator, knowing what we know about multiplication algorithms and just how to write them out. So first things first, write this out as a multiplication algorithm, but without the decimals. So I've taken all those decimal points out. So I've got 6.72 times 1.3, take out all the decimals and treat them as if they were just big numbers. I'm not going to go through how we do this because there's a previous lesson you could look at about multiplication algorithm, but we multiply it out. So my 672 times 13, I go through with my algorithm and I get an answer of 8,736. Now that's too big because this number was just nearly 7. This number was nearly 1. 7 times 1 is 7. There's nothing like 8,000. But here's the main bit. Okay, this is the bit that is critical and makes this all work. Step 3, put back in the number of decimals that we took out at the start. That's all. How many did we take out? Well, if I go back and have a look, I took out, there was 2 decimal places here and 1 decimal place here. I've taken out 3 decimal places. I just put them back in at the end. Okay, so I put them back into my 8,736. Now remember, every integer has a decimal at the end of it. Okay, so I'm putting in a decimal point here. It's at the end of an integer, which is what this number is. And the reason I do that is I'm going to put those decimal places back. In other words, I'm going to move this decimal along here. So how many places? Well, 3. 1, 2, 3, because that's how many I took out at the start. And I've now got an answer of 8.736. That's it. Well done. Perfect. Here's one more example just with a little twist this time, something a little bit different, because you'll see that we're multiplying it by this time something that doesn't have a decimal here, but it's got a lot of zeros, 3,000. The tweak to the rule here is, if we're going to do this, let's take out the decimals and the trailing zeros. The reason I do that is I can now multiply 238 by 3 and I get 714. Okay. Did my multiplication algorithm. All I do now is before I put those decimals back, I've got to put the zeros back. The 3 zeros that I took out at the start have to go back in. So let's tack them onto the end and I get 714,000. There were 2 decimal places that I stole at the start. I've got to give them back now. So I go 1, 2, and I get an answer of 7,140. That is how we multiply decimals. Well done.